Hello everyone and welcome to this series where we build an MCP task management server that allows you to create and manage your tasks. In this video I'm going to hopefully make a small adjustment, so it's going to be shorter video than the previous ones, and namely the adjustment is a small addition to new task that I've implemented. So it's execute task. This task basically is a workflow task that uses get task tool as well as get project tool to load it into the context, and later it's creating the plan as well as executing the plan as well. And at the end of it, once the task execution is finished, it will update the task status into review, as well as all the items that are basically marked on checkboxes within the task will be updated as well to done. So the improvement to that tool I want to make is very simple, and namely I want it to create a branch as a first step and name this branch task hyphen ID of the task. So to do that, we're going to use, to create the task, we're going to use both Windsurf, or we could actually use Windsurf for free, because at the moment Windsurf has a promotion where GPT-5 low reasoning is free, and that would be sufficient enough to create our task. But recently I made Gemini CLI working with our MCP server as well, so I want to put some more tests into Gemini as well and see how it works and performs. So I'm going to use the Gemini with my free subscription to create the task instead. But because I'm lazy, I'm going to use recording or transcribe functionality in Windsurf to type in my prompt. Create task to improve existing tool. The tool, MCP tool name is execute task. So the improvement I want to make is add another step as a first step in the workflow to make sure we create branch and switch to that branch before we execute the rest of the steps. So let's wait a few seconds for the transcription to come through. Now I'm going to just copy it, go to my Gemini CLI and paste it in here. Now, before we start, as you can see, before I paste it, as you can see, I've got my NPM NPM server or MCP server started using npm run dev, and same for my UI. So I can go back to Gemini and hit enter. So it's thinking about it. It selected the, it's doing the right thing. It's creating the task. I'm going to say, let's say the other ones. Now I'm going to switch on to my project flows UI, and as you can see over here, I'm on a task list page, or task management page, and in drafts we've got add branch creation, step to execute task tool. As you can see, it created a title, it created description, so it used only the required parameters. I'm going to ask it though to include all available properties. I go back to here. All available. Can you update the task to include all available properties? So again, let's see how it's going to progress with that. Okay, so it says it wants to use the update task, which is absolutely fine. Let's go ahead and do it. Now I'm going to reopen this one and see what it updated. Okay, so it's want to use the run shell command. Right, I was maybe not the clearest about it, but I want to make sure that the instruction is right to actually use best internal tools to do it. So rather than specifying, a technology to do something, rather than be specific about the technology that it has to use, I want to leave it open for the agent to decide. So, if Windsurf or if Claude Code or if Gemini has some preferred option to create the branch, I want to make sure that it's using that instead of anything that is specified. So actually update task again, make sure we specify. First of all, I'm going to say investigate current implement. Okay. Investigate execute task. So investigation, let's have a look actually on the investigation first, and it's workflow tools. It's execute tool is defined, blah, 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 blah. So we actually know it's done investigation, so it means the block works quite well. So it went off and it investigated basically the code base, and it found the workflow tools and where the execute tool is, which is perfect. So I don't need to basically say that anymore. What I'm going to say is update task to make sure that the agent decides the best available tool to execute creation of the branch. This MCP will be used by many different agents and code builders like Claude Code, Desktop, Google or Gemini CLI, Cursor or Windsurf. Right, so I'm actually quite happy as well that Gemini is working now, as I did have some issues in the past, so hopefully that's resolved. The only major tools that I still want to test it with is Cursor as well as Claude Code. Right, let's update it. Go back. So let's hope I'm going to have a chance to do it soon. But at the moment, I'm pretty sure that Claude Code is working fine, Claude Desktop is working fine, as well as Windsurf and Gemini. Right, let's see the changes. Okay, so it actually nicely updated everything in here in the research. Okay, so it's asking to use Git checkout. Fine, then investigation. As we've seen earlier, we've got yes, we've fine. All that is working. Notes we have right, so it looks like a robust plan. So rather than executing it in Gemini, I actually prefer to execute it in Claude Code. So I am going to just basically say execute task 159 and see what it's going to do. So basically, as I said, execute task is a new task that is basically a workflow that is trying to execute the task as well as update as it goes along with all the necessary information. So let's see how it goes. Oh, by the way, because we didn't include that step yet, I need to manually create the branch. 159. As you can see, the workflow is working, so it basically went off. And in here, the updated task. And let's see how it's progressing. It's actually in doing now. So as you can see, it moved to doing. And if we open it, updated the task. There's something wrong with the way it's formatted, so I will need to look at that later. And it seems like a problem that I had in the past, but for now I'm just going to leave it running. As you can see, it kind of moved everything as one line, and we can see, I believe, the next line not having the space is causing the formatting to be matched together. Right, let's do auto accept, and now we can see what we changed so far. Okay, so it added extra step. Right. Step 2, okay, so it's keeping the step freeze and everything else. Okay, I think I did not specify correctly what I wanted to name. Name the branch. let's wait for it to complete. It looks like it's trying to use the name of the branch where let's see if we know. Okay, it's progressing, it's ticking things over, it's updating the task again. Right. Check if we need create a branch by detecting current branch. Also, it's doing quite clever things. Right. Can we change the way we handle branch name? I want the name to be task then task ID. So for this task, it would be task 159. So let's make that small adjustment. Okay, so as you can see, it removed a lot of stuff, which is fine. Right, and this one looks a lot better, simpler. Okay, step 3. Okay, so execution instruction. Right, so do we need to update execution instruction? Let's see if Okay. Right. Okay, I would imagine that we want something in between asking to create a branch, but for now, I am going to ask the question, should we not have an instruction to create let's have a look. Right, so okay. Okay, so right. Right, so we've got that. I'm going to say I'm quite happy with what it's done. So in order for us to test it, we probably need to restart MCP server and all the connections. Boom. Let's have a look. And this is still broken, so I need probably another task to fix that. Let's worry about this later. We've got that in review. We restarted the MCP. I kind of don't need to restart the UI, but now I want to create a test task. So create a test task so we can test new implementation. Hopefully we'll come up with something easy. Right, so we've got creating task, get selected project. It's actually quite clever. It's taking selected project. Actually quite clever for... Okay, so I need to stop it. Go to WinSIF settings, go to manage MCP and restart. We have made changes to MCP, that's why it's failing. So I probably need some sort of task as well to make sure it's working, although I don't know if we can, but let's worry about this later. And let's try to recreate the task. Yeah, as I was saying, the GPT-5 seems to be quite good at reasoning because it's going through process of like get select project. It's basically building its own workflow in there. So okay, so it selected the project and then it created the task. So the task is already visible in project. So it basically went through the process of getting the selected project. Obviously we've got only one project, but if we would have all tasks, it would just put it without any project assigned. But because it used get selected project first it figured out that we've got selected project ID 83. And that it created the task for us. Okay. Right. Now, let's have a look what it actually said. Right. Update. I'm going to say update this task to just test task. Actually, I am going to remove that because I don't really want it to spend on. That's another bug I need to fix, but I'm just going to create, say, create task to change task card color to red. Now this should be easy task that we can test basically entire workflow, including creation of the branch. So it's quite cool. It's going again, get selected project, and now it's creating and then it's thinking a little bit more as well. And I can see already it created the task. All right, I think that task should be sufficient enough. I am going to test it in Windsurf. I switch to the Windsurf model that is free as well. So I'm going to say execute task 161. And let's see if the new addition of the workflow is working. So the Windsurf should ask me first to create a branch. Okay. It didn't do anything. It's a bit bizarre. So this looks like the implementation didn't work. Okay. I am gonna go ahead and create new Claude instance and try with Claude. Maybe something went wrong with Windsurf, but let's have a look. Execute task 161. Let's have a look what what Claude Code is going to do. So yes, I want to use the tool. Okay, so it's trying to use git checkout B61. Right. Before I'm going to say yes to that, I'm going to commit my changes. All right, generate and commit changes. I will publish my branch. And then what I want to do as well is make sure that git checkout be task 61. So new file test. I'm just going to add test file. I just want to make sure that task 159 has that file as well. And let's do yes to everything. Okay. So the change was, okay, that makes sense. The change was not submitted, committed. It was just moved over to this branch, which is fine. Oh, actually, we need to create oh, so it's quite interesting. Okay, so right, kind of makes sense what it's doing, but I'm not sure if it's the right approach. But for now, let's keep it as is. Right, I'm going to close it off, go back and see how it's progressing with the task. I mean, it's a simple task, it should do it, but I want to see the entire workflow. And what do we have? Backlog. Interesting. It didn't move it to doing. Which is quite weird. Went straight to implementation. maybe I think the wording is not what I supposed to do. Right. We've got that in review. I'm actually going to go here, move it into backlog. Go back to main. Remove that. I'm kind of thinking now. Right. I'm a little bit lazy, so I'm going to say update task 159 items back to tick state. As it was not implemented. So let's move that back as well to backlog. We got draft, change task card color to red. We keep it for testing. Well, it seems like the WinServe model is quite slow. Right. I am going to change the model now. Back to low reasoning, stop it. GPT-5 low reasoning, as it seemed to be working a lot better and faster. And let's see if that is going to get task. Is it still going to work? Yes, it's working. Right, so items were correctly updated back. Now, right, update this task to make sure that the workflow works as is now. It's just got extra step to create the branch. That step can be actually done after the plan. It doesn't need to be invoked before entire execution. let's see. I kind of don't like this implementation, so what I'm going to do is just literally go ahead and delete that as well. Now I will need to go into my code, branches. I want to delete that branch for now. And quickly do the implementation again. I'm going to go to Claude again. Go back to see what we have updated. Right. I will be even better. Investigate current execute tool and advise the best way and place to implement amend this step of creating a branch. So you kind of see me making a lot of mistakes and going through the process of even figuring out and making more than one implementation, which is fine because that's the way things sometimes are when you vibe coding stuff. Honestly, sometimes there's good days, better days, you know, and sometimes they are days like that you think you're going to implement something very easy, but then quite often by your own making, you know, it's not working the way it should. Right. I'm going to just skim quickly through findings. Right, so we've got right. Let's go for this approach. Right. Update task to implement the recommended approach. So basically it verify verified, what I wanted to implement anyway. Now we're going to update the task. Implement add branch creation, yeah, problem. We've got that included. Right. Yes, let's go ahead and implement it. So execute task 159. Right, we've got some error. Okay. I think it's still using the previous approach. Hopefully soon it will change. And we can test it again. Right, so that brings me to another conclusion that the tool needs to be more interactive, and maybe the creation of the task itself needs to be more like a workflow that is asking questions along the way to make sure it captures the right information. But it's a learning process for me as well. Okay. Right, what do we have here? Right, let's go ahead and arrow. That's interesting. So definitely add some rules to make sure we're not in like main, master, dev or something like that, which is quite good as well. Right, I'm not going to run that. As I want to do it by myself, I'm just going to clear and run dev instead. As we testing it with Claude Code, I'm going to leave that as a context window. I don't want to lose it. And then here I'm just going to say Claude again, open new instance of Claude. I'm just going to generate what we've done, commit it. I will not publish it at this time, but instead I'm going to test our execute task. So we're going to again change the color 161. So I will execute and test test the changes. I'll see how it performs. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it will. Okay, so it's executed, moved it to doing. I can show you on my screen. So now we've got it in doing, that's fine. Okay, so it figured out that it's not on the right branch and it created new branch. That's amazing. And now it's going through the process of actually, you know, executing the task itself. Now, the thing I'm looking for now is, you know, it's executing. On the other hand, it moved on in our UI, you can see it moved it to doing. What I'm expecting later after the review to after it finishes to move the task to review, and this means that it's basically done the workflow as it should, which it shouldn't be a problem because, you know, the workflow was working. The only thing we changed is adding a branch functionality in the workflow, which I believe this implementation is a lot nicer and cleaner, because the previous one was a little bit clunky because it was kind of trying to create a branch before it was doing the execution task, and then it was kind of trying to invoke the tool again, which was not as clean as this implementation. So, right, we've got task count now being adjusted. It's looking good. Right. Hopefully. Hopefully in the second it will be done. Right. Okay. Right. So it looks like it did change the colors. now we're just waiting for the last moment. I'm actually going to leave it here because we should see when it finishes, because it should move it to review. As it's done. Okay, I can see on my screen now basically communicating that he wants to move the task to review. Ooh. Task management. Okay, so this is still in doing. Okay. All right. Okay, so it's testing and everything else. I think it was referring to. Okay, so it's referring to to-do list. Alright, so we've got everything done, done. Okay. Alright, interesting. So the only problem that I can see is that it did not move it to review because of some reason. So that is unrelated to this task. So I'm going to basically say that it's done, but it seems that I don't know if the workflow broke or not, but I probably need to have a look at the implementation and compare it. But no, never mind. It should move it to review. It didn't. It was doing it in the past. I don't know why it didn't. But hey, never mind. It looks good, but it's still in doing. I'm going to refresh it. Still in doing. I'll move it to review. Actually, for now, I'm going to leave this task, move it over to backlog. I'm going to move move that actually to completed, because I'm quite happy with the implementation. Now for the branch task 161, I am going to discard these changes because I don't really want it. I don't really want it to change it to red. So that was a test task. But yeah, as far as I know, the implementation is done. So I can move back to the task 159. Just confirm, is task 159? Yes, it is incomplete. I'm going to publish the branch and merge it, and that will conclude this video. We had like, well, these 2 attempts to arrive at this state, almost like free, but sometimes it's just the way it is. As I said earlier, some days it will be nice and easy and things will go straight forward, and sometimes it will not, and that was due to basically me not communicating to the agent clearly. But never mind. Thank you for watching, whoever was watching.